All right, so let's get right into this. So going on right now, we have the NBA playoffs, but I'm not going to be talking about that today. Today, I'm going to be talking about the NFL draft and specifically quarterbacks. I know I'm a little bit late talking about the draft. I mean, the draft was a while back, but I just got all this set up now, so I want to talk about it now. But like I said, specifically going to be talking about quarterbacks today. I'm going to be talking about all of them in this draft. So every quarterback from Trevor Lawrence all the way to Kellen Mond, I'm going to be talking about today and talking about, what I'm really going to be talking about is how where I see their futures going. And I don't really see any of these guys as kind of like, uh, like a Josh Rosen, like a practice squad guy. Somebody who was drafted as a pretty good prospect, but is now just on the practice squad, not really doing anything. Honestly, I don't even know what team Josh Rosen is on right now. Um, yeah, I have no idea, but the Cardinals definitely made a really great move drafting Kyler Murray last year. I mean, absolutely genius. That dude's going to be a future MVP, mark my words. But talking about this draft class, I mean, every quarterback in this draft class is like so talented. I feel like. I mean, even Kellen Mond, like I said, the dude, the last quarterback drafted, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Kellen Mond was the last one. Drafted to the Vikings, in like the sixth round or something. But like I said, I'm gonna be talking about each and every one of them. I don't really feel like anything I'm gonna say today is very controversial, honestly. I feel like I kind of go with the pack with my opinion of these quarterbacks. So, I mean, I'm just going to get right into it. Starting with Kellen Mond. Hold on. Let me get my notes out. So, yeah, drafted out of Texas A&M. And you think about the NFL today, and you think about the quarterbacks that we see in the NFL today. You kind of think of, we're moving on from an Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady style quarterback more to a Lamar Jackson. And honestly, when I see an athletic quarterback, I think of Robert Griffin III and I think about injury prone. I think about how mobile quarterbacks never last in the NFL. And that is true because, and even as the NFL goes further on into this athletic quarterback style, I feel like we're still going to have that, injury prone factor. But we also have an NFL today that is like the softest NFL ever. I mean, literally, the quarterback is like the most protected person in sports other than LeBron James, if you know what I'm saying. So there's so many penalties and things that are associated with quarterbacks today. So I feel like maybe I could be wrong whenever I talk about how a mobile quarterback is injury prone. And so, I mean, I don't know. But what I was saying about Kellen Mond is he's an athletic quarterback. You look at a guy like him, he's mobile. I liked him at Texas A&M. He's a very talented quarterback. Vikings right now, um, they have Kirk Cousins, for their starting quarterback right now. And I think Kirk Cousins is going to start over Kellen Mond, obviously. He's not MVP caliber, I would say. He's not anything great, but he's a solid quarterback to have. And, he's definitely that old style quarterback that I'm kind of talking about whenever I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, which are two very talented quarterbacks, don't get me wrong, but they're that old style that's kind of getting pushed out, bringing in the new style, guys like Kellen Mond. So, um, I like this draft pick, obviously. He's a late draft pick, so I kind of see him as a steal. I think he's going to do big things in the NFL. I don't see him being out of the league in a few years. I don't see him as a practice squad guy. I don't see him as a lifetime Viking, honestly. One thing, and I don't know if this is just me, I know a lot of people probably think about this, but I'm a big weather guy whenever it comes to football. And I'm like 90% sure the Viking Stadium is indoors, but this dude just played at Texas A&M, so that's a big shock going from Texas to Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota is freaking cold, bro, and Texas is freaking hot, bro. So, I mean, that's a big difference in weather. So, And I always think about that when it comes to quarterbacks, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Uh, I don't know. I think people do think about that, but like I said, I'm like 90% sure the Viking Stadium is inside, which is a good move because Minnesota is pretty well ridiculous with cold weather. I don't think I could play in weather like that honestly, but um, yeah, don't really see him as a lifetime Viking, but I see Kellen Mond doing something in the NFL. I see him being somebody, and he's talented. He has skill. He's talented. Obviously, I mean he's an NFL caliber quarterback. Um, I don't remember what he did on the combine day. I honestly, he must have not been somebody that did anything special because his performance doesn't stand out to me. I don't remember what he did, but I see Kellen Mond doing something in the NFL, and but we're gonna move on from Kellen Mond because honestly, whenever I was thinking about this draft and I was writing down the guys who were drafted quarterback wise, I honestly forgot about Kellen Mond. I didn't watch the draft that long. I don't think a lot of people do. I mean, so I honestly forgot about Kellen Mond, but whenever I saw his name, I was like, oh yeah, Kellen Mond, he's got talent. But like I said, I don't see him as a lifetime Viking. I see him going somewhere else. But, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe he will be a lifetime Viking, take over after Kirk Cousins, whatever. But I think he has talent, and I'm excited to see where his career goes. So moving on from there, we have Kyle Trask from Florida, going to the Buccaneers. So he's obviously not starting this year. And he's probably not going to be starting for a while. Tom Brady is an absolute, unicorn of a football player. He doesn't look like it because he, honestly doesn't look that athletic. And he's not, don't get me wrong. But he's a guy that it almost seems like he can play forever. It's like he never gets tired or something. I mean, he's old, and he just signed with the Buccaneers last year and took him to the Super Bowl. So this guy, who knows how long Tom Brady's going to play. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to win the Super Bowl next year, but that's a topic for a different episode. But Kyle Trask, maybe, maybe they'll groom him into kind of like what Jimmy Garoppolo was whenever he was with the Patriots with Tom Brady. I don't think Kyle Trask and Jimmy Garoppolo's games are the same. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's going to be kind of Tom Brady's understudy, but rather than getting or what did Jimmy do? Did he sign with the 49ers? I can't remember. Whatever. Switching teams. Maybe after Tom Brady's gone, Kyle Trask is their backup plan. Or maybe in the next few years, there's another quarterback that they see that they want rather than Kyle Trask. Who knows? But Kyle Trask, a guy for me, he has talent. He was a Heisman candidate, obviously. Didn't win. Wasn't even close. Devontae Smith, well-deserved Heisman winner. I was hoping he would win it. He had a heck of a season last year at Alabama, and he deserved that win 100%. But you look at Kyle Trask, and I think of the Florida OU game, the bowl game this year. I can't remember what bowl game it was, but I'm an OU fan, so I love that game, obviously. If you know what game I'm talking about, OU absolutely just destroyed Florida and Kyle Trask. And I know what you're thinking. Kyle Trask, all of his weapons committed to the NFL draft. Yeah, I know that, but look at Florida. Florida is a D1 school. Those guys that they got playing wide receiver and tight end are D1 caliber wide receivers and tight ends. Yeah, I know they're not Kyle Pitts, but they're D1 level guys. They have talent. They're not just bums. And, Kyle Trask played crappy that game. But now he's in the NFL with the greatest wide receivers in the world. I'm not saying Tampa Bay has the greatest wide receivers in the NFL. I'm just saying those guys are in the NFL. That means they're the most talented football players in the world. That's what I'm saying. But Kyle Trask, Tom Brady understudy for sure. Maybe when Tom Brady retires in 30 years, Kyle Trask will play under him. Who knows what's going to happen with Kyle Trask. But again, like I said whenever I started, all these guys I feel like have talent. All these guys are going to do something. Good chance Kyle Trask will probably end up on a different team, just like Jimmy Garoppolo, because Tom Brady is never going to retire. And he is, there's no debating. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. And he's the greatest winner of all time. You got to give him that. other than Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan's actually a bigger winner. But you know, Kyle Trask, talented guy, obviously kind of laid an egg with his last college football game. You know, he got like 2 Heisman votes, maybe. So, yeah, I wouldn't have voted for him either. But talented, you know, bright future for sure. So after Kyle Trask, I lost my spot. Hold on. Oh, okay. Mac Jones. Mac Jones is my guy. All right. Whenever I was watching this NFL draft, I was thinking of 2 quarterbacks that really stood out to me. 2 quarterbacks that I feel like are the most talented out of any quarterbacks in this class. And those 2 guys are, one of them's Justin Fields and the other one is Mac Jones. All right, so Mac Jones gets a bad rap, I feel like. A lot of people like to make fun of Mac Jones because he's kind of built funny. But he's a talented quarterback. And what I love about what the Patriots did with drafting Mac Jones is you literally go from the college version of the Patriots, not last year. I know the Patriots had a bad season last year. But think about the past, forever. The Patriots have been the team in the NFL, the winners, they're the Alabama in the NFL, as is the, Patriots are, you know what I'm trying to say. I kind of screwed up that reference, but you know what I'm trying to say. They're the equivalent, And you think about coaches, the equivalent to me of Nick Saban in the NFL is Bill Belichick. So you take a guy, and he's literally groomed to be a Patriot. He just played with Nick Saban, and now he's going to play with Bill Belichick. Those 2 guys are so similar in so many ways. 2 of the greatest winners in football history, probably. And Mac Jones is just walking into a dream situation. And honestly, I think Mac Jones, he's going to be the biggest winner, I think, out of any of the other quarterbacks in this draft class. He's going to be the biggest winner. And I think you know what I mean by that. He's going to win the most Super Bowls. Because the Patriots, it's not going to take any time for them to get back to where they were now, especially that they have a quarterback that is not an athletic quarterback like Cam Newton, which we saw does not work for the Patriots. And I know it's an older Cam Newton, but I was telling all my buddies last year before the NFL started that Cam Newton was going to win MVP. So, because I really thought he was. I really thought Cam Newton was going to make a change. I thought the Patriots going to be fantastic, and I thought Cam Newton was going to be, something special. And that obviously didn't happen. So they said, yeah, we're going to move on to Mac Jones. Absolute steal of a draft pick. I love that pick for the Patriots. I really do. And I'm excited for Mac Jones' future. I don't know if he's I don't know if I'm most excited about him because there's still Justin Fields. I cannot wait to see what Justin Fields does in the NFL. But I'm pumped to see what Mac does in the NFL. And I don't think he's going to be starting right off the bat, but he will be starting his rookie season. Cam, I feel like Cam's going to be starting, obviously. And then I see Max taking over in, game 4, I'll say. That's my prediction. I'll probably be wrong because I'm no expert. But I love that pick for the Patriots. I really do. Mac Jones, bright future. Patriots, bright future. Awesome draft pick. I was so excited when that one happened. Honestly, I actually thought Chicago was going to take Mac Jones. And I know nobody else thought that. I really didn't. And I think Chicago made a good move with what they did with Justin Fields. But I definitely thought, as far as draft prospects go, I definitely thought people had Mac Jones higher than Justin Fields, which is, it's a good thing they didn't because I feel like as far as talent, Justin has more than Mac, but team-wise, Mac is going to be a bigger winner than Justin. And those 2 guys right there make me the most excited about anybody in this draft class. So yeah, after Mac Jones is obviously Justin Fields. I wanted to just make sure. I don't like being wrong with these things, but Just want to make sure. Yeah, it's Justin Fields is the next quarterback. I don't even know where to start, honestly, because Justin Fields is just sheer talent. Um, and I'd go as far to say that if I was the Jaguars, I would have picked Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence. And the reason I say that is because look at the game this year when Ohio State played Clemson. Just go back and watch that game and tell me who is the better quarterback. That's all I'm going to say about that. Justin Fields, he's the kind of guy that you don't want to doubt. And you know what a lot of teams did on draft day? They doubted him. He's a prove you wrong kind of guy, obviously. We saw that in college. He is so talented. And and kind of like what I was talking about at the start of this, whenever I was talking about the ideal quarterback for the NFL today, if I was going on Madden and I was making the ideal quarterback for today's NFL, I'd probably make Justin Fields. That guy is everything that you want for an NFL quarterback today. And I think he's the best quarterback in this draft class, honestly. I think he's better than Trevor. I think he's better than Zach. I think he's better than Trey. And he's obviously better than Mac, like I just said. But, I mean, Chicago, you did well. Okay, this was not a Mitchell Trubisky situation. You did well drafting Justin Fields. That was an awesome draft pick. And he's a guy that I would literally bet money on to do great in the NFL. He's going to do big things in the NFL. Chicago, you will not regret that draft pick at all. And he could push through an injury. I mean, look at his I can't remember what game it was this year, but he hurt his rib, I think it was the Clemson game. That dude absolutely speared him in the rib, and he played the rest of that game against Clemson. Then he played the game against Alabama, and and he played through it. And I don't know, I never heard what was wrong with him. I don't know if he broke a rib or if it was just bruised or whatever. But you could tell the guy was in pain, and he was still throwing bombs. I mean, absolutely huge passes with a hurt rib. I was so impressed by Justin Fields this year, and a lot of respect to him for pushing through after COVID canceled the Big Ten. But then, he had a really big part in bringing it back, and so did Trevor, obviously. But just the absolute grind that dude did this year, and just the will for him. I mean, that's what I think of when I think of Justin Fields, is just straight up will. Very talented quarterback. I cannot wait to see what he does with Chicago, and they're not going to regret that at all. He is so talented, and he's the best quarterback in this draft class. Mark my words. He's going to be the best, talent-wise. Offensive Rookie of the Year next year, 100%. All right, so now that I'm done talking about Justin, I'm going to move on to Trey Lance, North Dakota State, little college. And I know I keep going back to my notebook. I should have memorized these. I'm kind of a bum about that. But Trey Lance from the small college. And my thing with all these guys is I'm probably a bigger college football guy than I am NFL, honestly. I've seen all these guys play in college. And, Trey Lance is a very talented football player. But he's playing, smaller division, obviously, North Dakota State. But you've seen guys from smaller colleges do great in the NFL. So I'm not going to stand here and doubt Trey Lance on that field because he played at a smaller college than some of these guys. He obviously didn't play at Ohio State. He didn't play at Alabama. But he's talented. And he's another guy, like what I was saying about Justin, whenever I was talking about if I could go on Madden, make an ideal quarterback for today's NFL, I would make a guy like Trey Lance as well. Extremely talented, extremely athletic. He's a good ball player. And out of all the guys on this list, he's probably the guy that I have the least to say about because I don't really have a lot of doubts for him. He's kind of, solid draft pick, going to a decent team. He's probably going to make a comeback. And, I think he's going to do good. I think Jimmy G's going to be starting right off the bat. And I don't know when Trey will start playing, honestly, because I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo as kind of a washed up guy yet, honestly. I don't know what people's feelings are about Jimmy Garoppolo, but I feel like he still has some left in the tank. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving Trey, you know, maybe even a few years to let Jimmy Garoppolo just see what he can do. Jimmy Garoppolo's not an MVP caliber quarterback at all, but he's a talented guy, and he's still got, like I said, I feel like he's still got some left in the tank. So I see Jimmy starting all season, honestly. I don't really see, and I'm going to, I could be just an absolute idiot this whole episode by not researching enough, because I'm sure these teams have named their starting quarterbacks already. I didn't look that up, honestly. So if they've already named Trey Lance as a starting quarterback over Jimmy Garoppolo, then I'm just an idiot because I didn't look it up. But I don't think they did. So I'm going to continue to say, Jimmy Garoppolo has talent. And I don't think Trey's going to be starting for a while. But whenever they decide to play Trey, I don't think they're going to regret it. And I don't think they're going to have a problem putting him in the ballgame. He's a talented guy. And yeah, I mean, I don't see him going wrong at all. I feel like he's just going to do big things, and excited to see his progression in the NFL, because he is going to have to make a progression. I mean, playing at North Dakota State to the NFL, I mean, that's a big jump right there. So, we'll see what happens. I'm excited for him. And so the next guy, Zach Wilson. Okay, I'm done going back to my book. I kind of got it from here. There's only 2 guys left, so watch me not go back and I missed a guy, and I'm just an idiot for doing that. I don't think I did. So I'm just going to continue with 100% confidence that Zach Wilson, number 2 pick in the draft, BYU. All right, so I would compare him to Baker Mayfield. That's my comparison for Zach Wilson. And I know I didn't do comparison for all these other guys. And honestly, whenever I was watching, they do these comparisons at draft time, I never heard anybody compare Zach Wilson to Baker Mayfield. That's kind of just me. That's kind of, and I'm sure people have before, because it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, they're very similar. They even wear the headband. They're very similar guys, I feel like. So, obviously, Zach Wilson, he's going to do something. Because you look at Baker, like I said, I'm a big OU guy. I love Baker. That dude's killing it in Cleveland, and he's going to win a Super Bowl in the next few years. Okay? They are going to. Just be ready, Cleveland, because it's going to happen. But Zach, he's going into probably the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL, which is the New York Jets. Man, that organization is just screwed up, aren't they? And but they made a good move, and they've been making good moves. Last year when we were watching the draft, they drafted that big offensive lineman from Louisville, I believe. I can't remember his name. That dude, so good. Just so talented, that guy, and just a monster. And I'm the kind of guy, when I'm watching the NFL, if you're a GM for me and you're making a draft pick, and you're like a top 10, or not even that, but you have a first round draft pick, if you just want to play it cautious, just draft an offensive lineman. I don't think you can ever go wrong drafting a talented first round offensive lineman, ever. Oh crap, I hit my bad. But anyway, and I know we're not talking about offensive linemen. I just wanted to say that, because last year the Jets drafted that offensive lineman, and I wish I would have looked up what his name is, because I can't remember it. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Talented guy. So the Jets are moving in the right direction. Got rid of Adam Gase. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Their head coach. Got a new one. Can't remember his name. Obviously, I was very prepared for this. But yeah, the Jets are moving in the right direction. They still have a lot of work to do. I see them winning, 5 games at the most next year. And Zach Wilson's coming into a starting situation, obviously. The Jets have Sam Darnold, I think. No, they don't. What am I saying? They traded Sam Darnold. Yeah, I don't think the Jets have a quarterback. I'm sure they do on their roster somewhere, but not a name brand. Yeah, Sam Darnold's on the Panthers. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, he's coming into a starting situation. He's gonna have to prove himself right off the bat. And he's another guy. I'm excited. I'm really pumped for the NFL next year, honestly. I didn't watch every game this year. For some reason, the whole COVID, no fans in the stands kind of stuff just always gave me a weird vibe. And when I was watching football with no fans in the stands, I was like, it's just weird. And I know that's probably just me and I'm just being weird, but I don't know. It just kind of gave me a weird vibe when I was watching games this year and there's no fans. So I didn't watch every game this year, I'm not going to lie. But next year I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching all these rookies and not just the quarterbacks. And I think I'm going to make an episode coming up talking about guys that stood out in the draft for me. So that's going to be an exciting episode. I'm going to be talking about not just quarterbacks, but everybody. And, I might even throw in a few quarterbacks. Obviously, at the start of this, I had a lot of good things to say about Kellen Mond, and he was like 6th round. So, but getting back on topic, Zach Wilson, I'm excited to see what he does in the NFL. I hope he plays good next year. I hope he doesn't have a Joe Burrow situation where he gets injured. Oh, I think my chair just broke. Rip. But anyway, I hope he doesn't have a Joe Burrow situation is what I was saying. And he's coming into a rough situation. Jets, no good. But like I said, at most they're winning 4 to 5 games next year. They're not shooting for the Super Bowl next year, obviously. The Jets still have a long time before they're even playoff contenders. But they're moving in the right direction. So, excited for the progression of him and the Jets, honestly. And that brings us to our last guy. I'm not, I don't like to be rude. But is Trevor Lawrence just not like the most hard to look at guy on earth? I mean, he is just, I don't want to say ugly or anything, but man, that dude, I don't know why he chose that hair choice. I'm sitting over here, obviously not a model or anything, but boy, he's something. I tell you what, and his hair, it just doesn't fit him, But I know I'm just getting caught on the wrong things. That's not what matters. But he sure does, fling it around a lot. He wants you to know he has long blonde hair. That is absolutely hideous. But anyway, Trevor Lawrence, first pick in the NFL draft. Not a good move, Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is a good ball player, don't get me wrong, and he's going to be good in the NFL. Because, again, Madden, making a quarterback. He's my guy. He's a guy I'm making. Because he's athletic. He is very athletic, and I feel like that's something people don't, and I know people do, but I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook his athleticism. He's very athletic. He's very fast. He's very skilled. He's a great quarterback, but he's not better than Justin Fields. So, and I know you look at the Jaguars kind of setup. I would say Trevor, I guess, fits into the Jaguars setup better than Justin would. But, man, I still would have taken Justin Fields number 1 because I think Justin is better than him. But whatever, Trevor's still going to be, he's going to be somebody. He's going to be good. And I tell you what, my mind will be blown if he throws a touchdown pass to Tim Tebow this year. I mean, that is just, I'm going to kind of switch and talk about Tim Tebow here for a second. That is crazy that they did that. And I love Tim Tebow. I mean, I'm like the biggest Tim Tebow fan. That dude is awesome. I mean, I really like Tim Tebow. But I like him more as a human than a football player. I mean, but the guy would make one heck of a 30 for 30. That dude has probably the craziest sports story in like ever. I mean, he played with the Florida Gators back in the day whenever half that team is like convicts now. Urban Meyer, sketchy, and now he's his coach again, pretty wild. And then he goes and plays baseball, Now he's back in the NFL as a tight end whenever he's arguably the greatest quarterback in college football history. In the NFL, however many years later, as a tight end. On top of that, he took, I think, the Broncos to the playoffs whenever he was really young. I mean, just crazy sports story. And on top of all that, he's a freaking pastor. I mean, it's just a crazy story. That dude would make an awesome 30 for 30. So ESPN, get on that. And I know they probably already are because that is going to be something. That his story is crazy. And like I said, I love Tim Tebow, but there's no way that dude's going to be a good tight end. I mean, they absolutely no shot. I don't know how tall Tim Tebow is, but he's not, you know, I don't think he just doesn't do it for me, man. If anything, I would sign Tim Tebow to be a quarterback again because I know the dude's still got to have talent somewhere. And he's, like I said, he's probably arguably the greatest college quarterback of all time whenever he's at Florida. Won Heisman, absolutely dominant. But hey, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's going to have a fantastic season, but there's no way that he does. So yeah, that was kind of a weird thing that the Jaguars did signing him. But whatever, maybe it'll work out for him. And like I said, my mind will be absolutely blown if Trevor Lawrence throws a touchdown pass to Tim Tebow this year. Honestly, that would make my year. Because I'm a fan of Trevor Lawrence, honestly. I like his game. But he's not better than Justin Fields, and I'll say it until we prove it. I'll say it until next year whenever the Jaguars are like, dang it, we should have drafted Justin because he's having a way better season. And he just won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and our guy, the number one pick in the NFL draft, didn't. And on top of all that, he has horrible hair. So, I mean, it's really kind of whatever you want to say about Trevor. I know I'm kind of hating on him, but he's the number one pick, so that comes with that comes with it. So, I'm just kind of iffy about it. I wouldn't have drafted Trevor, but he is talented. He's a very talented quarterback, and he's going to be somebody in the NFL. I could see him winning MVP one day. Why not? I could see him taking the Jaguars to the playoffs one day. I don't see him doing much more than that. I don't see, honestly, all these guys, I don't really see any of them winning Super Bowls except for Mac, honestly. Because I feel like it's not going to take long for the Patriots to get back on top. Obviously, the Patriots just go to your local grocery store and find the next greatest wide receiver of all time. I mean, the way that they scout is just insane. Bill Belichick is an absolute genius of the game. And, they had their rough year, and honestly, everybody loved it because nobody likes the Patriots, let's be real, because they win too much. It's kind of like nobody likes Alabama unless you live in Alabama, Everybody hates Alabama because they win too much. It's the same thing. And so I really see Mac as like the only quarterback on this whole list that is like going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And he's going to be really good. I'm tired of people hating on Mac because he's talented and he's going to beat somebody in the NFL. So that's kind of my thoughts. That's my thoughts on all the quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to me talk for the last 33 minutes. I just rambled on about the NFL quarterbacks and this year's NFL draft. Like I said, I'm not done talking about the NFL draft. I'm going to continue to talk about the draft some. I'm going to talk about NBA playoff basketball some. I don't know. Did I? I don't think I said this. I was thinking about it whenever I got on here, but I was watching the video of Kevin Durant taking an absolute the craziest fall ever that he took. I mean, just fell like 9 feet out of the air, landed on his arm backwards and bounced, and then just got up. LeBron would never. And you know it, okay? LeBron just got taken down today by Chris Paul grabbing his shoulder. And he absolutely went to the ground like somebody shot him in the arm. I mean, LeBron is an absolute pitiful beast, is what he is. But, whatever. I don't like LeBron. And I don't like Kevin Durant either. I'm from Oklahoma. I don't like Kevin Durant at all. That dude, biggest snake in NBA history. But I do give him respect for getting up from that fall because that was a big fall. And he just got up like nothing even happened. I can't. I mean, just think what LeBron would have done. He would have been taken out on a stretcher, mark my words, if he took that fall that Kevin Durant did. 100%. And I give Kevin a lot of respect because that dude, his legs are that big around, his arms are that big around. Every time Kevin Durant jumps, I get crippling anxiety because I feel like his leg is just going to go 90 whenever he comes back to earth. He's a scary guy to watch. But, I'm gonna be talking about NBA playoff. That's how I got on this little kick about Kevin Durant. But I'm gonna be talking about the playoffs a little bit. Not a lot though, because honestly, I have not. I've watched like 2 NBA games this year, but I am gonna watch the playoffs. The other day, I watched the Mavs and Clippers. My guy Luca had a fantastic game, triple double. Did something good for my fantasy team there. So that was big. On top of that, I'm not. This show isn't just gonna be sports. Okay, I'm gonna do other things. But talking about sports is kind of like I love talking about football, basketball. I will never talk about baseball. Sorry, I just don't watch baseball. I'm not gonna act like I do. Been watching softball, honestly. College softball World Series is going on right now. Boomer Sooner absolutely destroyed Wichita State. I mean, like put 24 up on them in softball. I mean, did they even show up that game? I mean, it was crazy how many points the OU softball just scored. So I might make an episode talking about softball. I don't know. I probably won't. But I'm gonna be talking about fighting. I'm getting into MMA a little bit. I still have a lot to learn about the sport. But big Poirier guy. This last fight, Poirier McGregor 2, I was over at a buddy's house and like nobody was cheering for Poirier. Like everybody was going McGregor. And I was like, yo, McGregor didn't train as hard as Poirier did for this fight. Poirier's taking him out, all right? And I almost guessed what round. I can't remember what round Poirier won it in, but I said before the fight Poirier is going to win it in 3 rounds. I almost predicted the fight. So I kind of felt like DC there for a minute. But going to be talking about that, especially whenever that fight comes up. I will be talking about that fight quite a bit. Because like I said, I'm a big Poirier guy. I love him to death. I just love watching that guy fight. He has such an awesome skill set. But, not all sports on this show. We're going to be talking about other things. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to continue this show. And I thank you guys for watching very much. Be ready for the next episode. I'm going to call this Choose Happy. Absolutely racking my brain for a name for this show. And I landed on Choose Happy. I don't care if it's a stupid name because that's what I named it. So that's what we're going to go with. So, like I said, thank you guys for watching this, and I'll see you next time.